The story begins with a group of elementary school monster kids on a school field trip.
Say 18, 19. Okay, we're missing one.
Mike Wazowski always goes unnoticed by his teacher due to his small size and less intimidating appearance compared to other monsters. Once again, nobody wants to team up with Mike, and it's his teacher who ends up accompanying him.
Hey, okay.
Looks like it's you and me again.
They go on a tour of the famous and highly coveted company among monsters, Monsters, Inc., where monsters supply energy to the entire monster world by scaring human children. The screams or cries of human children serve as their energy source.
Bruh.
The monsters tasked with scaring little children are called scarers. Scaring is the most prestigious and idolized job. One scholar tells them that if they want to become scarers, Monsters University is the best place to learn how to scare properly. They start observing how scarers enter doors connected to children's rooms in the human world. Human children are considered dangerous and toxic to the monster world, so they have to be careful. Even though it's forbidden by the teacher, Mike still crosses the yellow line and enters the door, curious about how to obtain scream energy. Everyone outside is worried, but the monster admires Mike's bravery and gives him a campus hat. In short, Mike finally enters his dream campus, Monsters University. The campus is full of college monsters, and on his first day, Mike has to take a photo for his student ID.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Then, new students are taken on a tour of the campus, including the cafeteria, the door-making area, and the laboratory to research the door's feasibility. Monsters University offers many majors, with the most popular one being scaring.
The Astronomy Club! Come join the Improv Club! You'll wish you were never always...
Bruh.
The scare what now?
The scare game!
Of course, there are many campus activities as well. Mike is very interested in the scaring competition, which is the coolest and most prestigious competition, but also dangerous. In this competition, anyone can prove themselves as the scariest monster. Mike takes this major and becomes roommates with Randall Boggs, who is also in the scaring major, and later becomes Mike's enemy in the movie Monsters, Inc. Continuing their education at Monsters University is eagerly awaited by Mike. He is ambitious to become the scariest monster, and the first day of college finally begins.
Oh, man! I can't be late on the first day!
In the scaring major class, there are many great monster statues recording scream energy records. One living legend is the dean of the scaring department, Dean Hardscrabble, who once obtained a full canister of scream energy. Hardscrabble comes to see the scary faces of the new students.
This is why, at the end of the semester, there will be a final exam. So, I should hope you're all properly inspired.
In short, in class, Mike meets a monster named James P. Sullivan, a member of the infamous Sullivan family known for their scariness. Randall invites Mike to a party, but Mike prefers to study. Then, a pig mascot arrives, and so does Sullivan. The pig is the rival campus's mascot, and Sullivan plans to steal it as a gift for his gang. However, the pig is agile, making it difficult for Sullivan to catch. The pig eventually escapes with Mike's campus hat. Without realizing it, they both end up working together to catch the pig.
Back in! Oh,
on serpent's wings they
After Mike successfully catches it using his intelligence, people see Sullivan as the one who caught it. Sullivan is then fought over by the big gang on campus, including Roar Omega Roar, led by Johnny Worthington. Mike wants to join too, but one gang member and Sullivan both belittle Mike, who is not at all scary. Mike is very ambitious and challenges them, promising to become the scariest monster. College continues. Day by day, Mike deepens his knowledge of scaring from many books.
He's bouncing off my booty cheeks. I love the way he rides. I can hardly breathe when he's pumping deep inside. I kiss him.
While Sullivan, who is a member of ROR, remains relaxed because he believes that he only needs his physical prowess and roaring to succeed. On the day of the final exam, Johnny takes ROR's uniform, saying he will give it back if Sullivan passes the exam. The final exam is a simulated scaring of children using the appropriate methods for the given situation and conditions. The simulation difficulty is set to medium, which means it's harder to scare the children, and Hardscrabble is present to evaluate their abilities. Sullivan intentionally sabotages Mike because he dislikes Mike being too clever, leading to a conflict between them that causes an incident. Whoa! Hardscrabble is furious because her memory canister of scream energy is damaged. She immediately tests Mike and Sullivan's abilities. Then Mike is asked about the theory of scaring children. Sullivan, with his arrogance, roars without even knowing the question yet. The question is about scaring a child who is afraid of snakes. He would cry if he heard a roar instead of screaming, meaning Sullivan's roar is useless and won't increase energy. On the other hand, Mike understands the theory of scaring, but is considered physically not scary at all, the opposite of Sullivan. They are both expelled from the scaring major, and ROR also refuses to accept Sullivan again. Mike is now desperate, having lost his dream. Until he remembers a scaring competition organized by Hardscrabble herself.
Out of my way! Coming through! Oh, sorry!
Good afternoon.
so good luck.
All right, everybody, we're closing down sign-ups.
When the registration is about to close, luckily Mike manages to sign up. He has convinced a group far from being scary called Uzma Kappa to join the competition to prove to Hardscrabble that she was wrong to expel him. Mike is confident he will win, meaning he will become the scariest monster on campus. If Mike wins, Hardscrabble will allow Mike and his entire team to enter the scaring major, but if they lose, Mike will be asked to leave Monsters University. They need one more member to have a full team of 6. Mike tries to invite Randall, but Randall refuses to join because he has already been recruited by Roar. Eventually, only one person is willing to join, is Sullivan. At first, Mike hesitates, but due to the lack of other options, he agrees. Now they are a team.
Fraternity house? Hey there, team mateys!
With Ozma Kappa leader Don Carlton and member Aza Kappa is Art, the monster of the New Century Philosophy Department. Terry and Terry Perry, the ultimate monsters of philosophy dance majors. And finally, Scott, Squishy, Squibbles. They all have no talent for scaring at all. Mike and Sullivan share a bunk bed, and one night, they hold an initiation ceremony, but it's interrupted by Squishy's mother because it turns out the house belongs to Squishy and his mother.
You take the sacred oath of the... For crying out loud.
Sweetie.
They are further confused and hopeless. The next morning, as usual, they argue about trivial matters. Then, the first competition letter arrives, located below the sewer.
Welcome to your worst nightmare! Yes, I love it! I love this energy!
This year, 6 teams are participating. Roar Omega Roar, Slugma Kappa, Python Nu Kappa, Juz Theta Chi, ETA His, and the scariest of them all, Uzma Kappa. The first competition begins with a poison challenge, aimed at training them to avoid all the items considered poisonous by children. The organizers release poisonous porcupines, and all the teams must run to the finish line. The team that arrives last is considered the loser and will be eliminated from the competition. Instead of teamwork, Mike and Sullivan compete against each other. Senior monsters are tasked with shooting the poisonous porcupines, and if their skin touches them, it swells up. With swollen bodies everywhere, Mike and Sullivan manage to reach the finish line, but the rule is that the entire team must reach the finish line, and other members of Uzma Kappa are at the very end. Fortunately, Juz Theta Chi is caught cheating. They use an antidote and are immediately disqualified. This means Uzma Kappa is still in the competition because teamwork is needed. Mike has to figure out how to win the next edition, and, as team leader, wants them to follow all his instructions and train with discipline. Everyone is willing to be trained except Sullivan, who feels he's the best. The second competition is about to begin, and Mike asks them to do exactly as he says. As monsters, they must not be caught by children's parents, and in this competition, they must not be caught by the overly emotional library guards. Only 2 teams remain, and they must quickly grab the flag without being seen by the guards because the enemy is about to get the flag. Sullivan dares to grab the flag alone, but Sullivan fails to take it at the top because he falls, and they manage to escape without the guards noticing.
Guys, what are you doing? They said don't let her catch you. They didn't say oh!
It turns out Squishy had already taken the flag secretly. Uzma Kappa successfully passes the second competition. All are motivated to train, and Mike and Sullivan become closer. In the third competition, they must hide without being seen. Mike realizes that Art's tentacles can be used cleverly. The competition begins, and Uzma Kappa manages to hide without being detected. Finally, the competition reaches the finals, and Uzma Kappa will compete in the scaring simulator in front of all campus monsters. Each individual from each team will be tested for how scary they can be. Uzma Kappa gains more and more fans, and Mike manages to retort Johnny's taunts. Sullivan approaches Hardscrabble and tells her they will win the competition, but Hardscrabble is not convinced because she believes Mike is not scary at all. Hardscrabble's words truly worry Sullivan, who suggests that Mike forget all the theories in the books and bring out his aggression and monster nature. However, no matter how many times they try, it's difficult for Mike to be a truly scary monster.
Good.
Without hurting his friend's feelings, Sullivan still appreciates Mike's efforts, although deep down, he is very concerned. The final match begins, and the simulator is set to the highest difficulty level. At first, Mike was supposed to compete first, but one team member suggested that Mike compete last because he deserves to finish this competition, and everyone agrees. The first match begins, and by reading the situation and conditions and using Dawn uniqueness, they manage to excel. The competition continues, and Uzma Kappa falls behind a bit. Now it's Sullivan's turn to compete against Randall. Mike is confident that Sullivan can get very high scream energy. And since the embarrassing incident, Randall has become their enemy. The score is tied, and the final match is Mike against Johnny. Mike is truly anxious about himself, but Sullivan encourages him. Finally, Mike manages to defeat them all. After everyone has gone home, Mike is still overwhelmed with happiness about his success. Until he realizes something.
Why am I settings?
Sullivan admits that he damaged the equipment. Mike finally understands that Sullivan did this because he considered Mike not scary, which made Mike very angry and hurt. Everyone praises Sullivan's success and his team, including Roar Omega Roar, who wants to recruit him again. But Sullivan refuses, going straight to Hardscrabble and confessing to cheating. Sullivan is immediately expelled from the campus. Then a danger alarm sounds from the door feasibility laboratory, and it turns out Mike has broken into it just to prove that he's truly scary. In reality, the door he entered was a failed door that was going to be destroyed. On the other side, even the human child finds Mike cute and not scary at all.
You look funny.
And the room isn't a private room, but a room in an orphanage. That's why the door was going to be destroyed. With Don's help, Sullivan dares to enter there to save Mike. But it turns out Mike is no longer there, and many police officers have arrived at the orphanage. Sullivan follows Mike's trail while constantly hiding from the police. Now they're in a tight spot with the police. Mike comes up with an idea to scare the officers until they scream, as their screams can provide enough energy, and then the door can be opened from the human world. Although Sullivan is afraid because the ones to be scared are adults, Mike believes he can do it, as long as Sullivan follows his instructions. They not only get enough energy, but also fill all their energy canisters. And even the door explodes. Hardscrabble, with a frightened look, asks how they did it, and Sullivan replies, "Don't ask me." Then the CDA Child Detection Agency team arrives and takes them both away. Unexpectedly, Art, Terry and Terry Perry, and Scott Squishy Squibbles are accepted into the Scaring Major because Hardscrabble was impressed with their performance in the competition. Another piece of happy news: Dawn is now engaged to Squishy's mother. Unfortunately, the dean decides to expel Mike and Sullivan from the university, and they have to say goodbye to their friends. They are truly disappointed that it has to end this way. For the first time in his life, Mike has no plans for the future. They both have to part ways.
What's up? Stop the bus! Are you crazy?
But suddenly, Sullivan says that he can't do anything without Mike because his brain is Mike. Facing Hardscrabble's astonishment that they did something extraordinary that no one had ever done before, they couldn't do anything. Mike and Sullivan have plans for what they will do next. They will continue to work at Monsters, Inc., even though they start as mailmen. Mike is confident that he can break records in this job. And not only does he break records as a mailman, but also, with their determination, their careers continue to rise and they constantly break records. At the end of the story, they remember their first day of college and appreciate the extraordinary journey they have been on together.